Welcome to the Cash Flow Couple Podcast. I am your hostess with the mostest, Wendy Williams. How you doing? Here with my husband, John Williams.
Here I am.
There you are. Yes, there
you are. That's right. Friends again. Wendy watches a lot of Friends, in case you didn't know.
I do. So we have some special guests with us today. We have Terri and Hassan Pour-Rastegar. Did I say that well? Yes.
Perfect.
Excellent.
Pour-Rastegar.
Pour-Rastegar.
Yes.
It sounds very French. Is it French?
We get that a lot. It's not. It's Persian. It's from Iran.
Persian. Okay.
It is a very Persian name.
Oh, that is so cool. That is awesome.
Wendy's very much into languages and all that kind of thing. So
I'm a big language buff.
So
I speak
French. A little Farsi, maybe.
Yeah. Ooh, yes, I would love that.
See?
How exciting. How do you say hello?
Salam. There's a little Arabic in there.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Is it shalom or salam?
Salam.
Salam.
Yes, yeah.
Salam. Okay.
So you got to be careful. You'll go down this rabbit hole, and this will turn into a language lesson.
Okay.
That's okay. We'll have you over, and you and I and my father-in-law can practice.
Can you make us a specialty drink?
Yes.
Persian
There
tea.
Ooh. Does it have alcohol in it? Oh,
no. So being a very strict Muslim country, they're not really big on the alcohol.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
But I make the best Long Island iced tea.
Okay.
Yeah.
There you go.
Oh, yeah.
Now you're speaking my language.
And Persian kebabs. Authentic, the best Persian kebabs.
See, now you're talking food. We can talk about that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
We are so there.
Food show.
Nice. Well, Terri and Hassan have been real estate investors for about 20 years now, right? For about 20 years and in the Charlotte area. And we met on Facebook first. And then we were both in the Kingdom Real Estate, which is a Facebook group that we are both members of. Now, are you guys still in the Kingdom?
I am. Hassan's not. It's just me.
Okay.
I'm the network person.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Right.
That's probably why I knew Terri first, because I saw her on Facebook because I'm, networked with all the local real estate people. So
he's part of the networking crew too.
Yeah, exactly.
The doorbell just rang.
The doorbell just rang. Of course it did.
So the dog. All right, I'll get the dog.
Okay. Well, I'll continue.
And this is what happens. What can you do?
You know what? Kind of have to roll with the flow. So let's talk a little bit about how you guys got started. So because you've been in the business for a long time now. So tell us a little bit how you got started and your why.
Okay. How about if we start with the why? I think that would be good.
Yeah. Okay.
Why don't you start with the why? Because it was really your why first.
Right. Well, I was working hard, and I actually came to United States in 1983. And I had a good job, good paying job. And when I looked at Social Security, I figured out that because I'm starting late on my 401k and pension plans, when I get old and become retired age, there would not be much money to live on. So that triggered me thinking about doing something. Of course, by profession, I'm an accountant, I got an MBA, and
you're a business systems
architect.
Business
system architect and
IT business.
IT. Yeah, I came out of accounting and finance, went to IT, started making good money, but retirement was a question, how you're going to afford retirement. When I was a kid, my father and my uncle, they were classmates. They both become veterinarians, and they work for the same place. All my life, being a kid, my uncle had a better financial that I could see because my cousins, they had more money.
They were more comfortable
financially. And when I looked at it, my uncle had 6 rentals. So my mind was, okay, you're making money, we can get some rentals. So that's what triggered it. Also, I'm a handyman. I can work on different things.
It's very handy.
Very handy. So I told Terry, hey, we need to buy a house and rent it out. It took us a long time to save some money to buy the first house.
Yeah.
So that's how we started. Bought the first house.
We didn't know all this creative stuff that I've only very recently learned.
Yeah.
We're all down payment, 30-year mortgage kind of folks.
Yep.
And so we had to save a little bit.
Yeah, we didn't know anything. Just I wanted to buy a house and rent it out. So we bought it. We worked.
Well, let me back you up. Okay,
Yeah.
so then there was like a specific catalyst. He had a series of job changes that were not in his control. And he was actually angry because he said, I am tired of being at the mercy of corporate America. You know, I have amazing skills, amazing knowledge, and I'm spending my time making money for other people who don't even invest in me and, you know, keep me. They just decide what to do, you know, to do whatever is best for their own pocketbook. And as most businesses do, understandably. But
I think a lot of people probably feel that way.
Huh?
I said, I think a lot of people probably feel that way.
Yeah. He got tired of the stop and go. It was too damn scary. And so he says, that's it. We're going to do something. Like, yes, rah, rah, rah. What? Because I was just a secretary. I mean, look, I had no college, just, you know, graduated high school. I'm pretty bright. I'm pretty intelligent. But I'm a secretary. Probably just figured I always would be my whole life. And
she
so
hated her job.
Jobs suck anyway. But so I said, so what are we going to do? And he says, we're going to have rentals. Like, what do we know about rentals? Come on. He's like, doesn't matter. We'll figure it out. That's how he is with everything. When we get there, we will figure it out. He says, all you have to do is go find a house. Find the ugliest house on the nicest street. Okay. Just go get it. Make it happen. And I said, well, okay. So, little background. Some of you know I'm one of Jehovah's Witnesses. This makes us pretty fearless about knocking on random doors and talking to anybody who will talk to us. So I noticed the house next door to my parents, this is in downtown Fort Mill, looked vacant, but I knew it was occupied. It was a piece of crap. And it was a pretty big house. It's a nice little street. If you know the little mill area where you have like Irvin and Confederate and off of Bank Street, it's a cute little residential area down there.
Yeah, just so you know, we have people that are not in the state, not in North Carolina,
Fort Mill, South Carolina.
So Fort Mill is just across the border in South Carolina.
Yeah,
and it's kind of a subset of Charlotte. It's like Charlotte.
It's a bedroom community. Yeah, lots of people who live in Fort Mill work in Charlotte and such. Yeah. So anyway, I walked over one day and I knocked on the door and introduced myself, and I said, you know, I don't know what the situation is, but do you think the owners would be interested in selling? And they said, well, we rent from our uncles, and I don't know. They've talked about it from time to time, but I don't really know. I said, well, here's my name and number, and if they ever decide to sell it, please ask them to come to me before they talk to a realtor, because we're interested in the house. We live next door. I didn't say anything about investors or whatever, because at that point, I wasn't. I was a secretary. And this was a couple months, 2-3 months later. I mean, I left it. You know, you're supposed to go knock on the door a million times, but I just let them be. And they called us, and we made a deal. And we bought the house. And my mother, when she saw the inside, cried because she thought we had just made the biggest mistake of our life. It was pretty bad. It was pretty bad. And so what we did was, keep in mind, we still had full-time jobs and a household to run. And
was that the only house that you knocked doors on, or did you look at other ones in between?
No, just one. I didn't know what to do with two. What am I going to do? I don't know what I'm doing with one.
Okay.
Again, I'm old school. I don't know all this creative stuff yet. So, you know, we looked around. I think we talked to realtors and things, but they weren't, you know, great deals. So we just said, well, let's see what happens. Anyway, we get in the house. Keep in mind, we're working full time. We're managing a household. We have his parents living with us, so we're caring for their needs. And so we have busy lives, but we went directly to that house after work every day and changed into our crappy clothes. And we worked on that house every night.
You did it yourself?
Yes.
Yes.
I know.
My thought becoming in business, but going to this business is, if I don't know what it takes to do things, then I would make wrong decisions. And then the other people are going to make money, become millionaires off of me. So we had to learn to do everything ourselves. Now, I went to a high school, college, American college, they called it back in Iran. And they taught us a lot of things. We had real life classes. Skills. So I learned plumbing, working on electric, car mechanic, carpentry, blacksmith. I mean, I had learned all of those. So I could utilize.
No, ladies, he's not available.
So I could utilize those to fix this house. And for me, it was, if I don't know what it takes to do things, then people would take advantage of us. So,
and looking back, I do stand by this, because I can now go into a house that we're rehabbing and a contractor is doing the work for us, and I can tell if he's not going to do it right, or he doesn't really know what he's doing. He's just BSing me. In fact, there's been many times I said, no, I want it done this way. They said, well, it can't be done. I said, let me show you how it's done. And then they have to toe the line. So if I had not first had to do all of those things, I wouldn't know if he's doing it right or not. And I'm a control freak. Many of you know this. I got to know. I got to be on the site every day and paying attention to see if they're doing everything right. But I'm glad we learned how to do these things ourselves.
By the way, she does the sheetrock really good. You won't even have to sand it to paint it.
I'm very slow,
she's
very slow. And I paint, but I'm very slow. And I do millwork, but I'm very slow.
Yeah, that's how we learned. We did the first house.
It took a year.
It took us a year.
Nights, we would work till like midnight and come home and crash. And my parents would bring dinner by and we'd eat. And we went over there all weekend long. We had no life. It took us a year. I mean, he replumbed and rewired the whole house. We had to gut the bathroom. We had to do some structural work. I say structural, it was joists and stuff, not foundation issues really. And brand new kitchen, all new lighting. We refinished the original pine floors of this really old house.
And the original wood windows with weights on them. Oh my God.
Yep. We will never again restore old windows. That was exhausting, but we did that. And we rented it out. And I think it's a 3-bedroom, 1 bath. It's about 1,400 square feet, and it's ridiculously cute. And it's my baby. This is my baby. And it's just adorable. That's why it's my baby. And I think we rented out for $875 first.
No, $835.
$835. See, this is why.
So
and
you
now we're getting
$1,300 a month. This house has paid for itself about three times.
Wow.
And the value of it is actually 4 times more than what we put on.
Yeah, I would imagine Fort Mill is a popular place to be now.
Yeah.
Was it that way then? Was Fort Mill as popular then as it is now?
They had good schools back then.
Yeah,
yes.
It's always been kind of popular because of the schools. I can't say we were really in tune with that too much, although we did move to Fort Mill when we relocated here from upstate New York. And we landed first in Fort Mill because we had researched and where the good schools were. Although we don't have children, we know that that's where you buy good real estate. So that's where we bought our house when we moved down here. And so, because it was right there and it's a nice area and pretty popular, that's where we went.
And you were comfortable with the area. I said you were comfortable with the area.
Yeah, we knew it. Yeah, and it was pretty close to home, so it was easy to manage. So.
Couple years after we moved, actually, Fort Mill became so popular that there's a head tax now. They put a head tax in there. So if you want to move there, impact tax. I call it head tax. But if you want to move to Fort Mill, you have to pay, I think, $3,500 per head.
Yeah. So that just went up to $18,000.
Oh,
in impact tax.
Yeah.
Impact fee. Excuse me. If you want to build a house That's what you have to pay to even get permission to build it.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Did you know that?
No,
Wow,
but that increases the value of the existing real estate quite a bit. Well, at least by $18,000.
They're using it to try to manage growth a little bit, and to it goes to pay for schools.
Oh,
because they're opening new schools like
that's cool.
constantly. But anyway,
they're kind of doing that around here because here in Union County where we live, and I mean, people are just moving here in droves because the schools are so good. Yeah. And it is really hard to find anything to even rent here because the buildings just don't exist. I mean, it's like the trailer section outside is just as big as the school almost. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, tear downs in Fort Mill are going for over $100,000.
Wow.
It's I haven't been able to afford Fort Mill for a while.
So you did that one. What was the next step?
Well, what was what, John?
I said, what was the next step? You did the first one.
We did the first one. Then
you mean after all that work, you still wanted to do another one?
And then it was like, okay, I do nothing. And the way I do,
you do nothing?
Well, we do nothing, and there's a check comes for $835 a month. You know,
well, we did all of the things, and then we did nothing.
But then we did nothing. Yeah, we sit there, and check comes in. I said, hey, we need to do more.
Nice.
So we went and bought 2 more, and then another 2, and then we just went with that.
We started collecting houses. So.
We fix them, we rent them out, go buy another one. Then my thoughts were that, like people at the time, you talked about 2007, 2006. My friends were like, hey, a couple of my guys that I graduated with in college in Winthrop, we got our MBA. They went to financing and they were given loans. So loan managers, loan officers, they were telling me, hey, I can get you money with really low interest but variable.
Oh yeah, on our properties we were getting, when we financed it, the loan officers said, get an ARM, adjustable rate mortgage, 0 down ARM. And we're very conservative because we have nothing else to fall back on. We don't have a rich uncle, we don't have a friend, we didn't know anything about private money and all this stuff. And so we couldn't fail. We could not afford to fail on any one deal at all. So we're uber conservative. And we were like, no, we'll take the 30-year fix, please. Thank you very much.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah.
Right. That was the key and the other thing in my mind is variable rate for rentals.
Long-term rentals.
Long-term rental, my rent is fixed. It doesn't go up and down. Well, I can't, it gradually goes up, but I can't afford a high rate of interest or changes. So if the income is steady, I got to have my expenses steady. So we went that route. And then after a while, I told Terry, we're not, actually, they didn't give us any more loans. Back then it was, you can only have four mortgages other than your house.
We felt stuck.
we were stuck for a while. And then I said, well, you're going to buy them cash. So with the money we collected from rents and my bonuses and the stuff, we put them together and we bought houses cash.
We kept buying them. And then at one point it was funny because, he did have a 401k he had been putting away and we had not touched it until then. And the people who manage it said, hey, let's sit down and talk about your 401k, see if maybe we can do something better with it. So he had me print out our spreadsheet of all of our properties and how much they make and cost, and, the returns and stuff. And he went to meet with them and they started going on about what they could do for him and the returns, percentage of returns or whatever. And he said, okay, well, this is what we're doing right now with our money. And he slipped the spreadsheet across the table and they're looking at it and they look at each other. And they go, well, you should give all your money to your wife. Because we can't make those returns.
We can't make those.
So that's what we did. We started just emptying his 401k.
Yeah, and guess what happened? I sold my stock at, this was Ingersoll Rand stock where I worked at the time. I sold them at, I think, 78.50, and it went up 25 cents, and then market crashed. I had sold all my stocks back then. Wow. And I told Terri, and then the houses started going down, prices. And I said, Terri, buy. She said, I can't fix these things. It takes time. I said, buy, sit on them. You're going to buy.
He didn't care if I bought a house and had to just, secure it for 3 months until we could attack it or whatever. He just get them, buy them. And we did. It's like probably a good half of our portfolio we bought in the recession. And we did fine because we are ridiculously careful and conservative with just how we handle everything. And we've never taken the money from the business and used it until now. It always went back into the next property. I mean, once in a while, we dip in and go have a little fun. But so that's, we don't have, for 20 years, a lot of people, you all who are doing things creatively, by the time you've been doing this 20 years, you will probably have zillions of properties. We are kind of slow and steady. We've got 19 rentals, but we rehab them to death when we get a hold of them, and they sort of just take care of themselves that way. There's very little to repair for a long time. In fact, our very first rental just a few months ago, the first thing we ever had to really fix is the bathroom faucet died. Oh. We replaced the bathroom faucet. So it's that we really over-engineer our rehabs so that they are pretty tenant-proof. And so thankfully they're pretty easy to manage. We manage them ourselves. I get the tenants in, I market it, I get the tenants in, I take care of the tenants. It works out well. And I was able to, because of the business, quit my job about 12 years ago. I was on my hands and knees begging in tears to please quit my job because it was really killing me. And so I've been blessed with that. And then he thankfully got laid off last summer.
Yeah, actually 20 years ago, I told Terri, I said, my calculation, if we have 6 rentals, you can quit. And if we have 18, I can quit. So we would not work for anybody else. So now we have 19. Yeah. And most of them are paid for, so we don't have mortgage.
Yeah, I think we only have 5 with any kind of financing on it. And it's not like, we financed them all to death,
Yeah, so,
right.
So it's bringing cash flow. We don't have a magic. It's been hard work and we put money in it, but if you manage it right, it's a good business, it's profitable, and we live comfortably.
And I'll acknowledge, it's very different from all of the stuff I've recently learned, because although we've been investing for a long time, we've been lone wolves, right or wrong, we've been lone wolves until very recently. And that's only because of making some connections on Facebook and, recently saying, how the hell are people making deals? This market is crazy.
It is crazy.
And, I used to buy stuff on the courthouse steps, like in York County, which for those of you who are not here, it's just, again, over the border from Charlotte. York County, it's great because there's no 10-day buyback period thing. If you're the bid, it's yours. Take it and go. So we bought a few houses that way. That's kind of the only creative thing I've done, other than knock on doors and talk to people and some word of mouth. During the recession, we were able to buy them off the MLS because they were handing them out like candy. I couldn't move fast enough on them. There were so many. But to be able to continue, I'm like, I got to find out how these big dogs, as I call all you guys, how these big dogs are doing this, because they're doing these creative things. They're paying like almost nothing out of pocket to get a hold of a fantastic asset that they then either flip, or then they fix it up and rent it out, and they get it financed in such a way that it's, a cash cow. And so, it was only very recently that I started to try to learn about these things.
And we also flipped some houses. So.
We did. We flipped a few. Not too much.
Not too many.
I have a hard time letting go of a house. I have.
When we work on something, we get attached to it, or she gets attached to it.
I mean, for the right price, I'll sell anything. But honestly, it's so many times the things we've bought make sense for long-term rentals, because I could make 50 grand today, but I'd like to do that like every year. That'd be great, you know.
And like you said, it's paid for itself how many times over?
But honestly, at least
the
3.
First one 3 times.
At least 3
in rent, but the price, we bought that house for $50,000. It could easily go for $200 today.
About $250 probably.
I mean, it's 5 times more than what we paid for it. Plus, it had brought in 3 times its worth already. So
plus, it's cute. I do love that one. I am sentimental about that one. I'm really careful not to get attached to the others too much. So, but we flipped a couple, and but we recently, or maybe I more so recently, kind of we've had a little bit of stuff going on in our lives. We've Hassan's father. He's 91. He has Alzheimer's, and he fell about 7 weeks ago and sustained a fracture in his back. And so things have shifted in our household where he needs more attention. You know, somebody has to be home most of the time. He can be left for little periods of time, but we know that even that's temporary. And so our focus has come back inward, internally into our home and our family. And that's okay, because we can. And I kind of actually said, you know what? I'm content. I'm happy with what we have. It's more than we need. Are we rolling in mountains of money every month? No. But we don't have, we don't really have any more needs. Everything is satisfied, and I don't know. I'm kind of retiring.
Oh, interesting.
I hate to say it, because I do have a fire for it, if you will. You know, I don't know how not to look for deals.
Yeah, it's addictive.
Yes.
I think she's gonna get bored.
Well, I mean, there's always, we leave the door open, and we've agreed, hey, if we found a fantastic house, if something came along, one house a year, it's not going to hurt anything. But we're at a different point in our lives too. I'm 48. That's not so old. He's 64, so he's at a different point in his life. We really can't take crazy risks. We really don't want to. I mean, we've been doing this a long time.
Yeah, can I just, you kind of breezed over that, but I think that's
I'm so sorry.
No, it's a really good point. I just want to bring it back to, because the way you invested your money all those years, and because you have passive income, you can make that choice.
Yeah.
Right? Had you gone with the 401k deal that you would just have a big pile of money somewhere, right? That you would be drawing down. But these rentals that you have, other than the fix here and there, they're forever, right?
Yep.
So you have the luxury a lot to just say, hey, we're going to focus on our family right now. That's what we need to do, and not have to worry about where the money's coming from. And I think that's a beautiful thing. That's
do too.
A real passion
I pinch
of mine.
Myself today. I pinch myself, and I'm just grateful that we have this, because honestly, he's the one with the vision. He's got the business smarts. We would not have done this at all if he didn't say, go find a house. I would have been sitting behind a desk, typing away and answering calls. I would still be doing that for the rest of my life. And I would never make more than like $40,000, $50,000 a year if I'm really lucky.
Yeah, that's the way it was with me too, being a teacher. I mean, even with the master's degree, I think I would have capped out at like 50 if I had been teaching for like 20 years.
And to me, I didn't know any differently. I didn't come from, I grew up dirt poor. I came from people who grew up dirt poor. And, you were lucky if you graduated high school. There were nights as a child, my parents didn't eat. They fed us, and they had nothing to eat. I come from a pretty rough background financially anyway. I had a great childhood, you know, none of that, but it just, you don't know any differently. And I really am not a driven person. I really, you know, I'm not. It's been him. He's been the one coaxing me, pushing me along, coaching me. He's been the wind beneath my wings. It really, truly, he has been just crazy support. And he gives me all the glory, but really we wouldn't be here if it were not for his ideas and for his, you know, talking me down off the ledge when I would freak out about things. And, you know, I tend to freak out about things and I get worried and scared. And he's like, it's okay. Everything's going to be okay. This is what you got to do. Boom, boom, boom. And it works.
Yeah. Many people ask me when we talk, they say, well, did you read that book, Rich Dad?
We haven't read any of these books.
Right. I didn't. The only thing that in my brain told me back then that you got to do something, I'm sorry, I didn't know. People who make money, we don't really know, right? My father went to college, went to university, became doctor, worked only for one organization in salary, and that was it. And then he retired. So that's what we learned. Nobody told us how to make money. Nobody told me how to catch a shrimp and sell it or anything. Well, shrimp, you know, catch a fish or do something. There wasn't anybody. That's how people are, you know.
Our next endeavor is shrimp boat captain.
Nobody knows how to make money. So the only thing I had seen, again, as I said, my uncle, he had rentals. They had more money than we did when I was a kid. So I took that idea, said, well, he had rentals, I can buy houses and rent them out. So again, I don't have a magic. It's all what I saw when I was a kid. Idea hit my brain and I said, I'm going to do it. Of course, my mom too. My mom said, if you put your brain in your hands and you learn, you can do anything anybody else does. Mm-hmm. So that's why I learned all these trades. Plumbing, carpentry, because if they can do it, I can do it. So I learned.
Yeah.
There's no magic to it. It's hard work, and we did put money in it. So
yeah. So had I known some of the creative things I know now, I think we'd own massive apartment complexes and
yeah. You think you would have gotten there sooner?
We were like,
yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, yes. Yeah. Definitely. Our way is slow and steady. There's nothing wrong with it. It's careful. It's cautious. It's pretty safe, but it is slow. I never thought we would actually get to 19 houses the way we did it. And it could have very easily we could have very easily failed to get even these many houses. Definitely. If I knew then half of the tricks and things, the subject to thing, holy crap, I'd own Charlotte. I would own it by now. So, yeah, because we came across a lot of deals like that, but funding for like a massive apartment complex, I didn't know the right people, you know, to get that. So that was hard.
So is that something that you would talk to somebody who is just starting out in real estate? Is that some of the advice that you would give them, is to network,
get with the right people, go ahead and read those books, but know that there is no one right way to get there. Okay. There is no one right way, but network and figure out the creative ways. Know how to do it the old-fashioned way. There's nothing wrong with having that in your pocket too. But the creative ways, like other people's money, subject to, those sort of things, learn them inside out, become an expert in 3 different ways to acquire properties. You may have a favorite, but make sure you always know 3 ways to do it, at least. And then the other thing too, I would say to people is any property you acquire, always have a plan A and a plan B. So when we look at a property, 99.9% of the time, we're pulling the trigger because we think it's a great rental. But I will always fix my rentals up above and beyond the average landlord. It will be something that would be worthy of flipping if need be. Now, if I'm really going to flip it, I would put a lot more into it. But always, at any point, if I need to unload one of these properties, there's very little I would need to do to it to make it a flip. So we started off that way because we didn't know if this would work. So we rehabbed our first several houses like we would move into them. And it's made it last longer. It's become, they're more appealing. They rent out really fast because they're really nice. And we always have an exit plan. So that's some advice.
Over the years, have you developed any sort of criteria? In other words, that first house you looked at, it was kind of just because it was down the street, correct? But did you over time develop, okay, this didn't work out here, or, I need to buy at a certain price if it rents for this, or?
Yeah, I always forget what the number is, but for example,
I can tell you. Yeah, I can tell you. Average American family is husband and wife and 2.2 kids.
2.2 kids. That's right.
2.2 kids. That's average, right? So most families have 2 kids. They need 3-bedroom house. You need to buy for rentals if you want to buy a house for rental. 3-bedroom, 2-bath.
That's the sweet spot. I think we all know that
is the best one. So that was from day one. In my mind, was that we need to buy 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms.
Of course, our first house had 1 bathroom. But that's okay.
at the time, I didn't know better, but I thought 12% return on your money is pretty good.
I think it's pretty good.
Yeah, I would say
right. Because banks won't give you that. You always get maybe 2%, 1.85, something like that.
Well, that's
so
a savings
12% is good. In my mind, and then the average family, how much can they afford? So our formula was whatever you pay, and Terry couldn't figure it out, so I had to come up with a formula. If you pay, if you pay $50,000 for a house, minimum rent should be $500. That's 12% return. Then we changed it to 18%. So I used to tell her, if you pay $60,000, the rent should be $900.
Use easier numbers. So I always said, if I've got $100,000 all into a property, what rent do I have to get?
You need to get $1,500. That would be 18% return. That was our goal. That's the formula we worked on, and we always made sure that's how it is. The other thing was the average family back then when we started can pay about $800 to $1,000 rent in this area. So don't buy something that rent is going to be more than $800 or $1,000. So that was the formula we stuck to it, and we bought properties that were more expensive. So we flipped those. We sold.
Yeah, I mean, individually you have, this house performs better than that one, or what have you. But as a portfolio, it's all good. None of them lose any money at all. They all make at least our minimum requirement.
Yeah.
And financing comes into that too. But it was only the first 5 houses that we financed, so we haven't needed to calculate financing into there. If we had to finance any of them, and somebody would let us, it would not be a big deal. Whatever payment, we wouldn't need to cash out the whole thing. The payment would be small. We'd still be cash flowing really great. So.
And the other thing is today, if we let's say, I've heard 200 per door is good.
That's not a goal. That's certain.
Yeah, certain people do it. It's like 200 per door is good. We have a house that we are renting for $1,200, and we have no mortgage, so the whole thing stays. Well, maybe a little tax and insurance.
Taxes, insurance.
But in my mind, if we go use other people's money, we can do that. We can get it, but then you're going to have 5 times more rentals to take care of, right? So
for
the
us,
benefit is you're using somebody else's money the bad thing is now you're going to have a lot more
Oh,
rentals.
hold on. I'm sorry. Hold on.
That's a good picture of you. There you are.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I was trying to get rid of something on the screen.
You need to let them go.
Okay.
They'll go away.
Okay. You can't see the text coming up on my screen, can you?
No.
No.
Okay. I don't know how that works.
They go away. But anyway, yeah. So yes, we can do more houses, use other people's money, but at the end of the day, we have to manage more rentals.
And of course,
Number of them.
at some point you get to, you know, a lot of people just let somebody else manage their rentals, and we'll do that one day when we just get sick of it. But right now it's not even a part-time job. The rentals really just kind of run themselves. It's not much work. Of course, if we ever decide, you know, to sell our house and move to something like go to a beach condo or something where I'm not right here around our properties, then yeah, I'm going to manage it out and, you know, let somebody else do it. But I gotta find good people for that, really good people for that. And that's part of networking too. So that would be hard to let go.
I know a good realtor in the Charlotte area if you ever need one.
That's like one of those posts you see online. Somebody will say, "Hey, does anybody know a realtor?" And it's like flies on. I gotta say something to fruit. You know, it's
definitely, definitely. But you know, yeah, my advice is learn everything you can, network, go meet with the right people, put yourself out there, offer to help them, get a mentor. Do not pay $30,000 for any kind of classes and all that. You don't need that. Honestly, you don't need that at all. And just get with the right people, stick with them, see what they're doing, observe, watch, learn, and take them up on offers to help you out. You know, don't be a lone wolf. It's worked for us. We're happy where we are now. But like I said, yeah, we would have a lot more had we done it with these creative methods way back when. So I'd have my giant apartment complex.
Right.
Yeah, 400 units, right?
All my tenants under one roof. I'd love that. Everything we have is single family homes. So
yeah.
That's been our focus. I've always wanted to get a multifamily, but
yeah,
it just never happened. So
there's time left in life yet.
Yeah, there is.
Should you choose to?
Well, and it's not like we're just sitting here on our duffs right now. We're helping my husband's cousin. She's staying in the area with us here, and she's taking her money and investing it in rental properties. So we're helping her target and take down a couple of houses and get them rehabbed and stuff. And she already has two. She did three. So she had two before here in Charlotte that we helped her get a few years ago. And we just finished up and rented out one. And she's bought another one, and we're just getting started on the rehab over there. Some demo has happened. Woo-hoo.
So you're passing it along.
No, you're mentoring someone.
Well, I mean, I don't think she cares to be active in how to do it. She just wants to get the rent, and that's fine.
Right. Sure,
that's fine. Yeah. I'm happy to help.
Yeah, no problem. We lost your picture. It's your good picture again. Did we lose them all? Oh,
I'm here. Somebody called. I don't know how to stop all that stuff. You guys are gonna have to teach me the way.
I'll show you how to do it later.
That's John. John does all that. I don't. I just like, hey, here's what I need. Make it happen.
Yeah.
Put yourself in airplane mode.
Oh, well, if I do airplane mode, I won't be able to talk to them.
Yeah,
that's true.
I don't.
That was awesome. I appreciate you guys talking to us. I think
you guys.
I got a lot out of it personally.
Yeah.
And I think our listeners will get a lot out of it as well. The takeaway I come from it or get out of it is you don't have to do all this crazy stuff. Yeah, you might get there quicker, but just slow and steady wins the race. And
it does work.
Here are two folks that don't have to go to work tomorrow if they don't want to, and they quote air quotes only own 18 units or 19 units, right? So you don't have to get crazy. You don't have to go buy an apartment complex. You don't have to. And like you said, you have a comfortable life. You can focus on your family if you want to. I think that's awesome. And, you know, my hat's off to you. Even though you feel like you got there slowly in the old fashioned way, I think it's just fine. Like you said, you know, everything, I always hear everything works, nothing doesn't. Right. And it was taking action over time that got you there. So hats off to you from my perspective.
Yeah. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. It's been kind of fun. Sorry, I talk a lot, but if we missed anything, just let me know.
I can't think anything. That was great. We really appreciate you guys, and
my pleasure. My pleasure. It was fun.
We've learned a lot, and it's just an absolute pleasure to have you guys on the show. We really appreciate it.
It's been fun. If anybody needs help, I'm always happy to, you know, if you need boots on the ground to eyeball something, or, you know, I can help. I'll try to help out however I can. So.
Yeah. So tell me about your business, and tell me how people can get in contact with you if they would like to.
So it's just us, but we're Blue Sky Homes LLC. And my cell phone is 803-517-6579. You can email me if you want. Terri, Terri, @carolinabsh.com. We live now these days in Lake Wylie, South Carolina, which is another bedroom community of Charlotte. Yeah, I'm happy to help. Reach out. You want some advice? You want to grab a cup of coffee? I'm all about the coffee.
Come for kebabs.
Kebabs. Every Saturday night is kebab night at our house, and we have an open invitation, and very few people take us up on that.
Oh man, that's not a far drive for us.
I think we've had a couple of folks over. Yeah, they're in
Indian Trail.
Yeah, they're in Indian Trail.
So you can come Saturday.
Yeah, it's not a far drive for us. Do you like children?
How little are they? Well, just so I know we can entertain them or not.
They're 10 and 7.
No, they're 7 and 11.
Oh, 7 and 11.
Oh, we could throw them in the lake. We could throw them in the lake.
There you go.
They can play video games.
Water.
Do they like arcade?
Oh, man.
Yes.
Lots.
Yes.
Okay. I got an arcade machine with 6,000 games on it.
There you go.
What? Oh,
Yeah.
man. I'm just going to drop them off at your house.
See how that went from we're just coming over to you're babysitting now?
Actually, they've got jobs and drinks, so, you know, I mean, you know.
That's
we may make it like a Terri and Hassan's summer camp.
Yeah.
Yes.
I love kids as long as they're not mine.
All right, take us out.
All right. Well, we appreciate you guys. I'll go ahead and close it out, but thank you so much for
thank you. I appreciate you guys. I love watching your podcasts and your interactions with people. You're always out there helping folks. John came and you know, watched me flop on a subject to convo, and you know, I really was very grateful for, you know, the coaching and learning more, and you know, I'm still going to be out there learning more just because I have to. I don't know. I have to. And I'll see you guys around.
Yep.
Definitely.
We're here. We're always here. And if anybody wants to contact us, they can find us on our Facebook page at The Cashflow Couple. And you can also email us info@thecashflowcouple.com. Thank you very much. Merci.
Thank you.
How do you say thank you in Farsi?
Merci. They stole from the French.
No way.
So Arabic and then French. You've learned no actual Farsi.
Well, okay, correctly, they would say Khayli Mamnoon.
Well, okay,
Thank
say
you
that
very
one more time.
Khayli Mamnoon.
Haley Mamnoon.
Like a hairball is called Khayli Mamnoon.
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 Okay, I'm gonna have
You
to
got it.
and
got
get
this.
some kebabs and some drinks and work on that.
Yes. I'll make you Long Island iced tea. Come on over.
It's a date.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much, guys. Take care.
Merci. Ciao.
Bye.